This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Welcome to the August 23rd edition of One Nation Radio. I'm your host, Rich Latta, and I am here today, of course, with my co-host, James Boyd. James, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Let's just get into it. It's a long show. We got to go. Got to go through all this stuff, so let's do it.
Yeah, man. So how you feeling, man? Like, we had some news, which we'll get into in a second. You sure you want to sign up to cover Monday Night Raw and SmackDown every week?
You know, it's funny that this was the best weekend of WWE that I've seen, or this weekend, whatever you want to call it, that I've seen since I came back. And while it was the best, they also did something to me that I just the most mind-boggling, what are you doing thing that they've done since as well. I'm sure we'll talk about it later with the Becky situation, but let's just go through the rest of the card or whatever, or the rest of the cards or whatever. I mean, there was a lot of good wrestling over this weekend from WWE.
Yeah, man. So pretty much what we're getting at, and first, I'll tell you guys in a second, but make sure you guys are always rating our show here on your platform of choice. We're an independent podcast network. The only way we're going to reach more people is with your help by sharing the show and rating it. Make sure you check out all the other great shows on our podcast network: The Outsider's Edge with Rance and Carl, The Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, Keepin It Strong Style with Jeremy and Josh, and Grown Men Watch This Shit. Big announcement this week. So, as some of you guys know, I have written on lordsofpain.net on the main page, I want to say since about last November, if I'm not mistaken, and they've reached out, and, they meaning, Chad and everyone else like that, they've offered me and James a chance to do a show on their network. So this was pretty much the announcement that I wrote up and tweeted out. It went like this. It's with great excitement that I'd like to announce One Nation Radio, Richard Ladd and James Boyd will be debuting a show on Lords of Pain Radio next Tuesday, August 28th, focusing on covering Monday Night Raw and SmackDown live each week. As the most tenured show on the Social Suplex Podcast Network, we will remain here as well with our unique takes on the storylines, news stories, and history of wrestling in a more analysis-based format. We'll also do our pay-per-view previews here as well. We're excited about the chance to expand our reach and open the door between both networks for all current and potential listeners. We're not going to be or sound like anyone else, and look forward to hosting a show that will be as entertaining as it is informative. So, in short speak, we expanding,
Wow.
we putting work on 2 blocks essentially. So, yeah, man. So, story goes like this: we were supposed to have a show on Lords of Pain a long time ago, but for whatever reason, that didn't happen until now. But time is everything. So, make sure you guys, if you guys are not subscribed to the Lords of Pain radio, you can type in Lords of Pain or LOP Radio, any type of podcast feed. Our show will be on there next Tuesday. If you guys are listening to One Nation Radio every week, we thank you guys. And we're not going anywhere here. Nothing changes for you guys on this feed. But if you want, more of me and James, we'll have a show over there as well. James, your thoughts?
Excited for the opportunity. You got to sound more since we're doing WWE speak. Excited for the opportunity, just interested, just really excited to see what we do next because we're kind of this show that we've done different styles of trying to fly by the seat of our pants and come out with actual plan and everything else. And I think we'll come up with some interesting, especially like now that we're doing 2 shows. We don't have to like jam pack every single thing into an episode because that's like what you have for the week. So I think we'll have fresher eyes and you can kind of see our take, kind of like our opinions and our viewpoints on things like, more over the weeks as more news comes out and also the television shows gives us more stories to follow. And also, I think me and you are a hoot as they like to call it. So I think the more of us talking, more of us interacting together and having conversations is will brighten up people's day. So yeah, I'm pumped up, hyped, if you will, for what's in store.
For sure, man. And so how it works, Lords of Pain will get the Monday Night Raw and SmackDown TV reviews. We will be talking about NXT on this show, as well as like all the news and anything else that comes up here. But up next, we're gonna get into the NXT coverage right when we return. Up next, we are going to talk about NXT Takeover Brooklyn 4. James, now this show was a great show from top to bottom. We got plenty to talk about, whether it's the star ratings Meltzer gave out, our personal star ratings, and, everything else that's happened, like with Johnny Gargano and Ciampa, Ricochet, their tag team division, Kairi Sane, all that jazz. What were your overall thoughts on this show, James?
I thought while walking out, or I guess after storming out of Jeremy and Josh's apartment after what they did to Johnny Gargano, as I left, and then I halfway down the stairs, I got my phone charger, walked back up, grabbed my phone charger, walked back out. They laughed harder, the rest of the guys, and then as I was driving out of the apartment complex, I thought like, damn, this is a really great show, per usual when it comes to NXT, and it would have been really nice to have the top star in the company win the title of the biggest show of the year as opposed to looking like a plate of piss. But besides that point, I thought this was the best women's match that we had in probably since Brooklyn 3
for NXT.
Yeah, on the takeovers. Is there anything that was as good as that match we just had?
I'm trying to think. What was the women's title match going into the Los Angeles one, the War Games show last year? I can't even remember.
The War Games was that was the 4-way for the title that was vacated. Yeah, that was vacated.
This one's up there. I really like both Shayna Baszler and Ember Moon matches, but this is right up there.
Here.
Yeah,
same here. I just thought this one was just better.
Right. No, top to bottom, I really enjoyed it. NXT undefeated, never lost, as LeBar says. So, I think you had 3 monster matches and a really good 4th match in, Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler. EC3 and Velveteen Dream, they did their thing and it was cool for what it was, but the main takeaway, we can just start with the main event. Johnny Gargano comes up short in his pursuit.
Again!
Yeah, in his pursuit of the NXT Championship. Tommaso Ciampa retains. These guys had an absolute war. Very creative last man standing match. Very intense. They didn't sell a lot. It doesn't bother me or anything, but it's just something to point out. And Ciampa walked away with the win. Were you expecting this, James? Because I picked Ciampa to win.
I expected. I didn't come in any expectations of somebody winning or not. My expectation more or less that one person won like a fucking buffoon.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's more or less my expectation. I mean, given where we are with the NXT Championship over the last year, where we've had we go to Brooklyn 3, Bobby Roode to McIntyre to Andrade to Alistair, and now to Dude. I mean, we've had 5 champions in 1 year. Like, what the hell? I mean, a 6. People were saying like a 6 might be an issue. I don't see it as an issue, seeing that I just gave you the list of how many times they changed the title over last year. That's not what they're really concerned about. But if that's who they choose, that they want to stand behind and build for whoever he takes on down the road, fine. I mean, because obviously he's a great wrestler, and he has and he has all the heat in the world.
He's also got great theme music.
Yes. That's the best theme music in the entire company. But yeah, I'm not the finish is what threw me off. Like, it was a great match, great, obviously 2 great guys in heated battle, creative stuff as you mentioned. Yeah. I can't even think, like, there was so much stuff going on. I can't even think of this. Almost like a flurry bit. I can't really think of what like was the most what I popped for most out of the entire show, but on that entire match. But yeah, just great match. Just I think it was a disservice to the finish. I mean, and if the idea is to take Johnny off TV for months on end, and to bring him back, I don't know if it's the right thing to bring him back. Like, this is his 3rd Brooklyn match. Yeah. Like, it's at this point it's time to move on. Like, I want to say like 2.5 years ago, we were saying like, how much longer is Finn Balor going to be stuck here in NXT and developmental? Mm-hmm. Or the 3rd brand, whatever you want to call it, or both.
What do you make of this thing? Because Ciampa's doing just such an excellent job as a heel. For me, it wasn't the time to take the belt off him, just because it was like, he's on another level, like with his antics and just what he's doing right now. But what do you make of this thing where folks are, starting to turn on Gargano? Because I know that's your guy, and they've made him, he's been such a great babyface, but he's had like a slight character change that is either forced him to be more aggressive, and now at this point, you got to think it's going to drive him to like lunacy at this point.
Well, yeah, like, I think I made the comment during the match to y'all that, like, to me, I find it hilarious every time Johnny has the advantage and he's like, going off to do something else to the ringside area to try to turn into a weapon. They're always trying to weaponize like the floor, or tables and whatnot. Like, every time he goes off and he goes like to set something up, you'll see him like look up at Dude, and he's like, he gets a scowl on his face like, mother effer. Like, he's so mad at the dude. Like, I hate this dude's guts. And like,
I hate that's that pretty you much exist.
Yes. That's more or less like what his entire character has been ever since Buddy had spent on his wedding ring. Right. Like, ever since that moment, he has snapped and he's uncontrollable, and it is ruining his career. And you will hope that, like, and that's pretty much been the story. The whole entire story these last 2 matches has not been that in a fair fight 1-on-1 that Dude can actually beat Johnny. It's that Johnny keeps self-destructing because his rage is overtaking him because of the mind games that have been played with him and all the stuff and the bitter hate that he has in his heart for this guy. And like that is a good story. That's a solid story. However, I don't need to see him keep failing over and over and over to get that point through. And like, he's done it twice, and they're going to move him on to take him off TV or whatever it seems. Maybe at this point it's a good thing. It's a thing to just keep them away from each other. Like, but they kind of need to be away from it for a while, or just like never do it again.
Yeah, I think either they need to run it back once they're on the main roster, or just like delay this shit all the way till WrestleMania weekend, essentially, with Gargano finally beating this guy for the championship, or
Brooklyn 5?
Brooklyn 5. But I think at that point it would even be overkill. I think it's one of the great feuds ever in WWE. I went 4.5 on it. Seems like Meltzer agreed with me. Gave the same grade on it. Another match on the show, Ricochet and Adam Cole for the North American Championship.
Well, hold on. I have to interrupt you. I'm not going to let you slide on you saying that they're going, maybe they should save it for the main roster. Who's saying they're ever going to be on the main roster? Do those 2 guys like they're weigh 205 pounds to you?
I remember chuckling during the entrance where they said announcing Tommaso Ciampa at 218 pounds. I was like, get the fuck out of here! Like
that's Seth Rollins' weight, bro.
Yes.
Seth Rollins used to weigh like two teams.
Look, if you expect me to believe Johnny Gargano is 199 pounds, look, I am no fool. You know, I was born that night, but not last night. These guys are really small. Hopefully this wasn't it. I'd love to see those guys fight each other again. But it's strange. They've had very similar matches thus far, and it's like I don't want to see them in this like street fight type of environment anymore. I just want to see who the better wrestler is at this point. Like,
I think, don't you think they're kind of like too far gone for that now? At least like right now?
The way this company books, I don't think it's ever, this is the same company that put a Hell in a Cell match in the middle of a feud, changed the titles on TV with Sasha and Charlotte, and then ended an Iron Man match afterward. And it was just like, I mean, they could go to the Cell and you could do that.
I mean, but that's a little different because that's WWE. That's main roster WWE being a slave to their schedule as opposed to this is NXT. We don't have a show every single month. When we don't have gimmicks on our show to try to get people to buy in on a B pay-per-view that's not in the big four like Money in the Bank or Hell in a Cell or Extreme Rules. So
I think they only have a couple options. I think they have the I Quit or the Hell in a Cell, or they just need to say, hey, this is never again. Like for the last time we ever gonna run it, it is a straight singles match.
Yeah, like I mean, I think that would be a good thing, like for them to just say we're not doing this again.
Yeah, I just need to know if I can beat you. Like whatever. But Adam Cole and Ricochet, these guys came out here.
I'm not
stunted.
letting this go. I'm sorry, I'm not letting this go. How many times does Johnny have to lose to this dude while he's handcuffed for you to get through your mind and like it's over? Don't do this no more. This man looks like a fucking fool. Just end this. Just be done with it. How many times is still gonna lose with his hands with just completely just beating?
This
beating
man
and lose.
Ciampa inventing new fighting styles out here to handle this man.
He
wild
used that
cuff.
man's own energy against him.
Yes.
He used that man's own energy against him, like a real karate artist.
Yes. But yeah, man. Moving on now to Adam Cole.
We're finally letting this go.
To Adam Cole Ricochet for the North American Championship. I think Meltzer went 4.5 on it. I was somewhere between 4.25 and 4.5. I didn't know which way to lean, but this match was incredible. I think it's going to be looked at as like, a great moment for Adam Cole in a singles match, which has been a rarity in his career. And this is Ricochet just being Ricochet. This is what this guy does. I'm not shocked. He's a super duper star. I'm afraid he's the wrong skin color, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to be happy.
Okay, because now people are going through people's podcasts and they're tracking exactly everything they said. So I need you to give the context of what you said about he's the wrong skin color. What you like just for people to know. I mean, obviously they can cut it however they want to, but you can't say that. Like we're gonna put this there so people understand where we're at. Okay, so you think he's the wrong skin color because understand that this company has a history of not pushing minorities, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, good. You'll be like, hey, what?
Yeah, he's the wrong skin. I'll be like, look, man, look who hosts this show. If they got this far, the Blackest Wrestling Podcast come to kick all ass. Like, yeah, man.
We have new eyes on us, so we gotta,
Yeah, we gotta clean it up. They might not know.
New platform, new enemies.
Yes. Look, I had them angry when I wrote that Hogan column on that site, so they out there. So new eyes on us. But what did you think of this match and the moonsault spot and everything else?
I thought that this match was just a good match until the Cabrera super kick spot, and then everything else changed. I thought that Ricochet was fantastic in this match. I rewatched the match. I rewatched every match on the show except for the main event because I was just furious at the time and they have time. But I would say that rewatching the match, you get more of appreciation of Adam Cole and that he's more like Zach Gibson as a heel. And what I mean by that is he's out there. He's there to let the other guy shine. But but he's not doing anything to take away from the fact that like the baby face is the star of the show.
Yeah,
that you're supposed to be, but at the same time, he's not boring.
He doesn't get shown up either.
Yeah, and he's not just somebody that's just like, oh, he's just there. Like it's not like he's not Baron. Like he's bland on purpose, but he's not Baron Corbin. If you get my drift, like
totally
he's
understand.
there to facilitate how awesome this match is, but he's realize like my job is to let the other guys shine. It's not for me to go out here and do a whole bunch of flipping moves and try to keep up with Ricochet because that'd be fucking pointless and ridiculous and absurd. So I didn't because I wasn't really I was I'm more or less thinking like Ricochet more or less is like working with a mop right now until Josh mentioned it, and then on second down, and then I took that to heart and then watched it again. It was like, you know what? Obviously Adam Cole is good in all different areas. I've never seen him have a bad match, so that's for one. But it was kind of getting to the point where like, if they're gonna push him like he's his top guy and he has his top act and he's in his top faction on this brand, he kind of has to start showing and proving in these singles matches. And this is the kind of match that like people will rave about Ricochet, but like this is one where it's like he goes to the back and hopefully Ricochet says thank you because I can't do this without you.
Right.
Giving you have this match.
Yeah, man. Ricochet with the North American title, it opens a couple things up. You never know who can get the next shot. They don't have to. I don't know if this is over. They did a little thing this week where next week on NXT they're gonna have Ricochet and Pete Dunne teaming up against Undisputed Era. So I expect that to be super lit.
Yeah. Also, you see the part where where Dunne said, "Look, man,
I'm not your mate.
I'm not your mate. You got another piece of gold that I want to grab."
Yeah.
So I can't, bro. Dunne versus Ricochet would be awesome.
Yes. Speaking of other awesome matches, the tag team championships with the Undisputed Era and Mustache Mountain. I don't know if this finishes the rivalry, but if it did, I think we're talking about one of another great rivalry and one of the great tag team rivalries and overall rivalries WWE's ever done. Mustache Mountain and Undisputed Era. It's Midnight and Rock and Roll. It's Rockers Brainbusters. It's Usos New Day, and it might have even topped it. These guys.
Hold on. It's DIY Revival.
Yeah, them too. I went 4 3/4 on this match. I think Meltzer went 4.5 on this as well. What did you think about this one?
Yeah, I'm with you on the 4 3/4. I thought this match was incredible. It wasn't as good as their second match, but like it's just as fitting as the trilogy. Like it's just like the fact that they were able to get 3 matches like of that caliber and to get that kind of heat like that fast. Like this was like a 2-month thing.
Yeah,
boom, 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 and just like it's all laid before you, and it's like. It's full, it's complete. They told a story. They can move on, and like just for a 2-month span, like this was awesome. And like we talked about, for example, AJ Styles and Roman Reigns, as far as like short fuse, it didn't get a full trip. It could have went way longer, but like it was there for a short time. It was great. Like this was also on that list of like yeah, it didn't go that long, but like it was real. Every single time they were together, it was fantastic. That was awesome.
I think Trent Seven got a major breakout during this feud. For people that may not have been into him before, we all knew Tyler Bate was great, and then O'Reilly and Strong are just vaulting up the list of great tag teams I've ever seen in my life because. Yeah. They've got it all. They've got the wrestling. They've got the style. They've got the energy. They've got, just seeing how Kyle O'Reilly walks to the ring with the belt, doing the guitar playing, and they just know they're just smug pricks, and they're so hilarious. Like they totally get it.
At this point, we're kind of have to worry like. More or less, like, are they NWO or are they the Horsemen? We can't even know. Like, we just know they're great and they're doing like these certain things that like they're aspects of both of their like inspirations come from those two sources. But like, it's kind of hard to figure out which is which because like which is more of which because like they're so good in the ring and obviously that means they're more like the Horsemen. Like, but like some of the stuff they do were like they're just pricks, and they're like
that's like Scott Hall.
They're like cool heels at the same time, but they're also like you would want to hang out with them, which is a quality that more fits like the Horsemen, but they're being cool heels at the same time, which fits more like the NWO. Like they're just awesome. And we were just talking about the Ricochet and the Dunn exchange. What started that was because Strong and O'Reilly ran up on Ricochet after the match, and then O'Reilly says, "Oh, you're not so tough when it's 2-on-1, aren't you?"
Yes.
Dude, I was screaming.
Yes.
Like he's like a show stealer. Like, I mean, do you remember the Nation Domination when Rock would just basically like still focus on the camera at times?
Yes.
Like,
hit you with a line.
Yes, O'Reilly is making like a facial expression. Like O'Reilly is doing that. Like it's so small what he's doing, but like he's just showing these flashy characters, and they're so great. Like I'm glad Caleb brought that to my attention like 2-3 months ago. Like he's just awesome. Just awesome.
Yeah. We also got the crowning of a new NXT Women's Champion and Kairi Sane defeating Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler says she did not lose the match. She simply, I don't know. She didn't know what happened, essentially, and she was still the better fighter that night. So, how did you think this compared to their first match? And for me, this was it was really athletic. I didn't expect Kairi Sane to, like, win, but I didn't necessarily expect her to lose either. I just knew we were going to see something good. And the fact they switched the title, I didn't have a problem with that. I think it's kind of needed for NXT right now because Shayna Baszler is like fast outgrowing her role there. And then if you look at everything else that's shaping up, the NXT women's division, like there's a couple different ways you can go. And all the challengers are essentially heels right now. And then you have like Dakota Kai and Candice LeRae, and barely Dakota Kai because, she's a geek and all. But they... going forward, like, I think, you got to look at Bianca Belair and Kairi Sane, but I really like the match. Creative finish, straight out of the Bret Hart versus Roddy Piper, Bret Hart versus Stone Cold, Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe school of rolling you up and having you beat when you think you were got. Like, and the finishing sequence was incredible in this match.
Yeah. I think of WWE's best work as far as finishes this week and weekend. I think that this match and the AJ Styles Samoa Joe disqualification finish were like the two smartest things that they did this weekend as far as finishes. I like the fact that they are protecting Shayna. Only time Shayna's ever lost, she's lost twice. To my knowledge, the only time she's ever lost on NXT has been because she got rolled up because she it wasn't like it was a legitimate beating. She actually just got rolled up. They weren't like she got hit with a finish. She was knocked unconscious for the count of 3. It was she got caught slipping. She got banana pill losses. She slipped on banana pills. And I think that's a great way to be able to excuse that and keep her dominant and still have the baby face not just be, beaten and moved to the side. You can continue the story. And I think it's only getting more heated from this point forward because I feel like, that now that we're past SummerSlam, my thought was maybe Shayna lost and she moves over to do some screwy thing to try to keep the chase for Ronda going, but that didn't happen.
Good.
So I'm assuming she's coming back. Yeah, and given that promo that she had on Wednesday,
they'll probably do a TV match.
Maybe they take it again all the way to War Games too. Who knows? But there's going to be a title rematch, and I think that that's appropriate. And I think that this match, because you asked me earlier, I think that this match was more story based than the first match of the Mae Young Classic, and I thought that they did a really good job with trying to sell that Shayna is very dangerous, and if she hurts you, you have to fight from underneath like hell to be able to even have a chance to beat her. And I mean, she kicked out the finish and she rolled out like she did. I thought this match was really good. I thought 3.5. Like Meltzer gave 3.5 stars. I disagreed. Like I thought this was 3 3/4, borderline 4. But I really enjoyed this match. Like I can't say enough about how good Takeover was. I just can't.
Yeah. Velveteen Dream with the Call Me Up Vince pants on, I think, were the star of his match. EC3 and him weren't necessarily, like, they didn't have a bad match, but I don't think they had a really good match either. It was, just in the middle. Oh, a professional wrestling match, I think they had. A little concerned about EC3 being a in-ring performer, but I will not doubt that he is a real man, as I mentioned on Chad's show. Because if you didn't see what he did in that ladder match in New Orleans, like he ain't no punk, he ain't for play. And he has the promo ability. I think his wrestling can come on good enough, but I think that's a function of wrestling the Velveteen Dream, where Velveteen Dream can be really awesome when you put him in there with someone awesome. But if it's a situation where it's someone that's not a great worker, I think you get these. I think you get some timing issues. I think you get parts in the match where the crowd is just looking at the match, waiting for something to happen. I felt like that. That plagued the first half of the match essentially, and then they got it going, but at the end it was over. I think these guys they're gonna be out of here soon, so it might not even necessarily matter.
Yeah, I thought it was a good match. Obviously, nowhere near approaching great or the other 4 matches on this card, but I don't know. Maybe it was just me, but I got the feels this was Hulk Hogan, 80s Hulk Hogan versus 90s Shawn Michaels in a match together. That's what it felt like with all the the hokey cartoonish type of stuff of the overselling of the power and some of the wacky selling in the match. At the same time you had Dream doing big stuff, bumping around for him, like Shawn used to do when we used to wrestle bigger guys in the 90s before probably 95-ish, whatever. Especially the crotch spot on the rope when he shake the ropes up and down, that was so Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. I'm sorry, Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan. In fact, I think they may have did that in their 2005 match, maybe in SummerSlam, maybe. But yeah, I thought this was a good match, and I can't wait to see what's next for both of them.
Wrapping it up, I was on Chad's show. He thought this was the best takeover ever. I disagreed. James, did you have those stats that you had shared with me about where this kind of ranked as far as star rating wise?
So I listened to the podcast, and then he asked you that, and I was like, "Really, Chad?" And then the Meltzer star ratings came out, and I ended up just adding it up and just giving the average average star rating for each match on the show. And it ended up with an average star rating of 3.95, which is that's a great, I can't say great enough, card or rating for average, pay-per-view. Match by match by match, you're right at 4 stars, right there. That's a great card, top to bottom. The problem is, for all the takeovers, that would rank it as the 9th greatest takeover ever. 9th.
Unbelievable. Yeah, that's crazy.
After realizing that, I'm now instead of just just saying, yeah, it was a great takeover, blah blah blah. I am now treating this like Adrian Peterson's 2016 rushing title. I'm treating this like Randy Moss's 2007 NFL season. I am cherishing every bit of this because there ain't no we think that Takeover is going. We think that NXT and Takeover is going to be like this forever. History will suggest that we don't get shows like this often consistently, and it's going to be continuing over the next 5, 10, 15 years. So I'm going to cherish every single last one of these takeovers because we don't know when this is going to end. We don't know when things change for whatever reason. What do you say? Plans change, objectives change, and they turn this thing into real live, for real developmental, as opposed to a super indie that has developmental people on there from time to time and just basically mercenaries that we want to learn how to work in our style. So I really suggest that everybody cherish this because it's not promised.
Yeah, and if you look at that average star rating list, you're getting a lot of stuff like NXT Takeover New Orleans. It was the #1 WWE rated show in history. So and from there, the stuff that's above that is Dominion, Wrestle Kingdom 11, stuff like that. So we're in rarefied era with New Orleans, and this is in its own set of rarefied era, but it's not quite at that level. And there's no shame on that, but I think eventually we're gonna have to start talking about what is a better series. And for me, it particularly wouldn't even be close. NXT Takeover versus WrestleMania. Like, which one would you rather take?
Let's put it this way, right? Think about it. This is a show that had 3 matches that got 4.5-star ratings. I don't think there's ever been a WrestleMania that's ever done that. I'm pretty sure. I don't even think I have to look to know that, right?
Right.
So, you think about that, and then think about a show. I'm sorry, and you think about the fact that just on average star rating, right? I mean, obviously, it doesn't mean everything is obviously like Takeover New Orleans is boosted by the fact that there's 2 5-star matches on there, but that's besides the point. This just on average star rating, and it's not end all be all, obviously, but just on average star rating, this was quote unquote the worst quote unquote takeover since 2000 since the takeover in San Antonio.
So
for the 2017 Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
like that's the kind of like winning streak they're on in Takeover.
Yeah. I think that's a good place to leave it. So we will be back with our SummerSlam coverage. The next thing on deck was WWE Summerslam, and James, I felt like we were robbed after, going off of air. It was insane. It was a snow job, a screw job, any type of job that you want to put on this at the very end with the Reigns and Brock. But we'll get to that in a moment. What were your overall impressions of the card? And I mean, going into it, I don't think we were like, the most excited in the world. But, what were your thoughts on it?
I thought that the squash matches on this card made the matches that got time, like the opener for the Intercontinental title, Bryan and Miz, Joe and AJ. I thought that gave them more time to do what they need to do to tell more stories, and they got them over that hump from the 3.5 to the 4. Or the 3 1/4, like they were able to get them more time so they could get to the great match, and I really appreciated that. And I think that this needs to be the new format for SummerSlam. Like nothing, this is the 3rd time they've done the 4-hour SummerSlam that I think, and like this is like the first one where like the card felt consistent, didn't feel like half a great show, half a bad show slapped together. So yeah, I thought we give them crap for them like not learning from mistakes. I felt like they've learned from the past 2 years.
Quietly, they've been doing squash matches on their pay-per-views leading up to this. Like if you remember the Nakamura and Jeff Hardy match from last time, I want to say they did a couple other squash matches. I just can't recall at the time, but. There are going to be short matches in places. You're probably going to get one of those Elias segments to just give you like a second, between the shows. If it was up to me, I would, go up the hill rather than, being on a roller coaster the whole time. But
right.
Let's take it right to the main event, man. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. James, after 3 years, Roman Reigns, the new WWE Universal Champion, and he did it by getting a distraction pinfall. What?
Yep. Yeah, man. Was it Havoc or was it Prodigy that said ain't no such thing as halfway crooks?
I think it was Havoc.
Havoc. Okay. So like, we always talk about like don't fuck around with it, do it expeditiously.
Yes.
And we always talk about this where it's like don't do this him and Han shit. If you're gonna put somebody over, build them and put them over all the damn way. Don't half step it, don't half ass it. And I mean, I'm glad they got the belt off of him, and I'm glad that Roman, was able to not just be in these matches and look like shit, look more like a piece of shit or loser after this. Now, going forward, we can kind of like reverse the curse, if you will. But I thought that was kind of like a weak thing. Like I'd have been perfectly okay for him to have just, three Superman punches, spear, third spear, pin his ass, get the fuck out, get out of there. That would have been great. But that's not what they chose. What they chose decided to, cut it with Similac. But
bro, this was one of the great robberies in WWE history, and not the fact that he robbed Lesnar of the title, that the fact that they robbed the fans essentially of what they thought was happening. So they bring Strowman's ass out there and use him literally as a tool to stop the hijack, essentially, right? And reports have since come out said that this match went exactly how it was supposed to go. There was no communication from Vince to cut it short. So from the moment that the referee's hand slapped 3, they went off the air with 2 minutes and 4 seconds. If that ain't them rushing off the screen and like, there's nothing to see here, holla, no pyro, no celebration, no nothing.
Right.
They knew this was a snow job, James.
Yeah, like, okay, so specifically the last time, if I'm correct, the last time that Lesnar lost a match was the Goldberg at Survivor Series 2016, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how long? Like, I didn't even got to look because I rewatched that squash match in the last year. They were after Goldberg squashed Lesnar. You know how long they stayed on air?
Yes.
Just to bask in the crowd popping and like the marvel of Goldberg still looking like it's 1998 in the year 2016.
Unbelievable.
And he brought his kid out there shirtless, and he kissed his wife, and his dad and his parents were there, and he walked around the stadium with his son on his shoulder. Like,
bro, they ran off like they stole something. Like they ran off like they stole something from us.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me of?
What?
Remember the Derek Fisher .4 shot?
Yes, I'm out of here.
I'm out of here. You refs ain't finna come back here and bring me back out here to say we have to continue wrestling. It was almost like the same thing like the failed Mary between the Seahawks and the Packers, where like the Seahawks got that bullshit touchdown, and they were like, "We out of here! Shut down the stadium!
Yes,
it's a wrap.
We're leaving the stadium."
Yeah, so
they were afraid of those boos. I think This is the wind aid, bro, and we're gonna get to it later. And if you got to do all this, he's not the one.
Right.
Like,
yes, that is true, and I mean that is absolutely true. And but like I guess we're having separate discussions. Like, I agree with everything you just said, but if your objective is because you were so scared to death of doing this at WrestleMania and having him win and getting booed out the building, if your whole entire thing is we must have this man win the title and people must be happy and cheering, this was probably the best. This is ingenious if that's what they want to do, because they slapped the fans' heads. They thought they were trying to get this Strowman cash in, and they thought that Strowman got laid out, but he's gonna get up and it's gonna be actually like a quote unquote fairer fight. So he can't say, he just won on the cash in. It's gonna be Bronze Night. They went off air on their dumbasses. They didn't realize they went off air, and so they can boo all they want to, but nobody at home has to sit there and nobody's there sitting here witnessing him getting booed out the building, because he's already held the title up and he already went off air and we already got your money and we out the door like fucking crooks in the night.
Crooks
on the midnight train to Georgia. We out of here, baby.
Yes.
Barry Bonds.
Unbelievable, bro. I was watching that and I was like, bro, did anybody just see this? Like, did these dudes just did this? Like, like that John Starks? Like,
hey, man, if that was their objective, then they did a great job, and my hats off to them for wanting to be scammers like that.
Unbelievable, bro.
But look, I admire the fact that I admire the audacity and the the shamelessness of the whole situation. But at the same time, like, I'm aware this is a scam.
Yes.
Like, I don't think anybody.
They tuck their tail between their legs to do this.
I don't think anybody is pretending this isn't what it is. Like, is there any? I mean, obviously there are, the crazies or whatever else. But like, is there anybody that's like this? Straight up wrestling fan that's like, yeah, like that's normal, or no, that's just perfectly cool.
That's I've never seen anything like this in history. Like, in wrestling history, like at least.
I mean, well, to be fair, they used to, Hulk Hogan used to get booed in like in the early '90s. They would, shows were pre-taped. They just double over that.
They sweeten the audio and all that. But this is like this is next level.
You don't see it as that though?
No.
I mean, the same thing.
More or less. They already turned Roman Reigns' audio down, so this is just like adding on the shit on top of the shit. I
just see it more as I see it more as they want to tell a story. The fans don't want it. They don't give a damn. They do what they do because they already got your money, and they still keep making money in spite of themselves, like CM Punk said on that promo.
I'm telling you, bro.
that's the case, like we're gonna get to when we talk about Becky, and
Oh yes, we will.
Like, it's the same thing. Like they told the story, people rejected the story. They said, never mind us giving you. He said, never mind you stupid fans, because even though we tried to make something that y'all wanted, never mind that. You gonna like whatever we pull from out our draws. Period.
Yes. Something else I like, but you weren't as high on. Daniel Bryan and The Miz had their first one-on-one match in ages. They had the long build over this month with the video packages. They made Daniel Bryan look kind of weird in the lead up. Miz ended up getting the win using the dirty finish with the brass knucks. Was kind of anticlimactic for me. Going everything else in the match though, I loved it. Like I thought it was just. Like as I mentioned in the chat, like Daniel Bryan kind of like retrains you how to watch wrestling. Like if you like all right, this everything makes sense. This is like what the goal was of this match, and they're just gonna hit it every step of the way. And it was like really hard hitting, and the crowd wasn't into it. Strangely, I don't know why that is. If that was a function of where it was on the card, did people not believe it the day it came? Like. What do you think happened with that?
Oh, I mean, initial thoughts on that is, you just had AJ beat the living hell out of Joe with that chair because they just, because he just stepped over the line, and they went from having a heated match, a heated program and a match that displayed the heated, the heatedness. I know it's not a word, but the heat, that would be the word, that they had for each other, and then it crescendoed into, the chaos of screw this match, screw this trying to win this match, I'm whooping your ass. Yeah. And then the very next match comes out is, something of a similar heat where like these dudes have been circling around each other for seemingly 8 years. Or that's the story they portrayed it as, and then they basically have a wrestling match, and that's perfectly fine. But like, if you were going to do that, then they probably should have swapped those two matches, probably.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, but I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I wasn't crazy about this match, but I thought it was a good damn match. I thought it was like 3.5. It's just the thing for me was just like, see, I don't know how I can say this without sounding like I just hate Miz. And I clearly don't. Like, I don't know how many times I have to say like this dude should get a run at the belt, but like, I don't think they're going to because WWE has plans. But in that match, like they didn't have, flat out. Given what they've done with Bryan since he's came back, and also how this feud has gone, where like he's out here cocking his fist in front of what he believed was Miz, like strapped with his baby strapped in front of him, and him like running up on him or whatever else as a babyface. And also given with the rise of the Miz over the last 2 years, there's obviously instead of this being a heel versus beloved babyface thing, this was a beloved babyface versus beloved heel thing, and it turned into a 50-50 thing where it's supposed to be it was built. I felt like this match was built for a crowd to be living and dying by Daniel Bryan getting his just vengeance to shut up the Miz, as opposed to it's an exhibition this is an expedition. This is an indie match or whatever, and the crowd wants to cheer for both guys, and that's what this match was. And the problem with that was Miz is not the kind of worker that can overcome being people behind him while he's working heel. Like, he needs to be out here throwing those shitty kicks, throwing those shitty punches while people are upset because those are shitty looking punches and shitty looking kicks, and they want the other guy to rip his head off. That wasn't the case. They were literally like, "Yay, go Miz!" Like, and I that's what I felt while watching the match. Mm-hmm. But as you said, the match was laid out impeccably. But there was just there was that, and there was also some slowness in the match and a lack of crispness in the match that like wasn't there for, say, the second half of the Intercontinental title match or the AJ versus Joe match. Like, but like you said, like the strikes were there on the Daniel Bryan part, saying like, "You ain't tough. I'm gonna show you what tough is." Right. Like, that was all there. It's just,
do you think Bryan is at all?
They gotta get. I think they got to get that dynamic right for them to be able to get it all the way over. But they're this close. They're like inches away from it, for me anyway, from it getting all the way there. But it's just not quite.
I'm not really here for like the mixed tag angle that they're going. The only reason I'm not like freaking out on it is because they did announce a Daniel Bryan Miz singles match for the Australia show. 100,000. The winner gets a WWE title shot. So I'm not gonna light them on fire that bad. But they just have to be careful because they haven't really given Daniel Bryan the greatest creative to work with. You have people openly questioning whether he's declining as a wrestler, which is absolutely crazy. David Finichel, yes, I'm talking to you if you're listening to this.
Yeah, let's talk about this. Okay, so Rich, so I asked you if you could possibly get David on the show. I don't know if you talked to him or whatever else, and maybe I should have reached out to him. But like, I read his SummerSlam column. We're in the same. And I know it's going to come as a personal attack, but he knows I would have said this to his face. In the same paragraph where he said that Daniel Bryan has making a mistake or has declined as a wrestler, he also said, or in the ring as a performer, he also said that this was a great match. And it's like, or this was a 4-star match. And it's like, okay, so I was unaware of the time when Daniel Bryan was having 5-star classics all the time in the Tokyo Dome or where else you want to say it. I was unaware when he was doing that. But a 4-star match in WWE for Daniel Bryan on pay-per-view like SummerSlam sounds like what Daniel Bryan was always doing when he was in his in his previous run. So I don't know. Maybe he's saying like he's not athletically there the way he used to be, so now he's relying more on the storytelling aspect. Maybe, I don't know. He never said this in the thing, but as I read, I'm just like, yo, this is like cognitive dissonance. You can't like, or
it must be two sides.
Can I get more of an explanation on why you feel this way, as opposed to you saying that and then saying, oh yeah, great match, and then getting out of there to the next thing? And it's like, whatever. That's enough on David. Like he can, like we can talk about this later. I probably shouldn't brought this up on air, but whatever. But yeah, I mean,
what up, Dave?
Yeah, especially
I like the match a great deal. I thought if they didn't do the cheap finish, I thought they could have ratcheted it up with an excellent finishing sequence to around 4.5. But that's me.
I would have loved if Miz just beat him clean.
And I said that, like, if you're not pushing Daniel Bryan as a world champion right now, which they're clearly not, then why can't they beat him? And I wrote a column like, it's cool for Daniel Bryan to lose matches. Like you don't have to keep the man undefeated like that. That was never really his charm in the first place. We just ask that you let him have these matches, that you put him in a position to do that. And I feel like they did, but the finish was just sucky. So
yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where it's like, okay, well, he cheated. That's cool. At least it wasn't like, oh, he pulled the tires or his feet were on the rope.
Yeah. AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, we alluded to it. I thought this was absolutely incredible. I went for 0.25 with the disqualification. I think that matched Meltzer's rating for it. These guys, they sounded off on each other. They struck, and then at the end, Samoa Joe just took it a little bit too far, and AJ Styles decided that he couldn't face his wife after that. And, it wasn't about wrestling holds no more. It wasn't about, arm drags. It wasn't about, him kicking Samoa Joe in the chest. It was about him putting a fucking chair through this guy's skull. Like absolute open disrespect. Like you say you want to fuck my wife, essentially, like in front of this crowd. This will not stand. Like... The Styles family name will not be disrespected by you, Samoa Joe, even though it's a gimmick. Like, what were your thoughts on this, James? And I'm happy these guys delivered this, by the way.
Yeah, man. I thought this was a great match. This was my favorite match of the night. I was very, very happy to see that. I was very, very happy to see that this is a program that they built in basically 4 weeks. Got it that heated, got it to where everybody wants it. They're beating the hell out of each other. Crowd loves it, and they give you a finish to where it's undecisive. There's the inconclusive on who was the better man, and then it escalates and raises the stakes for what we all think is probably going to be a Hell in a Cell match. and they built to an appropriate. It feels like anyway that they built to an appropriate Hell in a Cell match in a span of 2 months, 7 weeks. I think this is great. Like this is, and we talked about this earlier about the finish, and like I think people talk about DQ finishes, and like the problem is what they're being when they're lame, as opposed to like this turned into something dynamic at the end to build towards something else. Like this was not Harper or Rowan pulling out a rubber fake fucking mallet and after in the middle of a really good match, just hitting them for a bailout DQ. Yeah, man, I'm really interested to see what they do next, and like I don't know where this goes from here after he got choked out last night, and then he said Daddy's going night night, like everybody go night night, yes. But I'm interested to see where they go next. Like I'm really into what they're doing with SmackDown. Like they got hot feuds.
Yeah. Something else I was really into was Ronda Rousey beating the holy living fuck out of Alexa Bliss and taking the Raw Women's title and ending that shit, and throwing that shit putting her in a coffin, completely taking her arm, bending it all the way out, pretty much like we all predicted going into it. This was actually, I think this is the best Alexa Bliss match I've ever seen, personally, James.
Don't do that. Don't do that. That's so unfair. Like last SummerSlam, she had a really good match with Sasha. Like, so don't do that. Like, I mean, that might be her only really good match that doesn't involve everybody else doing all the work. But yeah, I thought this may have went maybe a minute too long or so. But getting squashed or whatever else,
get her the fuck out of here, B.
Yeah, that was appropriate. Like. Nobody was going to buy that Ronda Rousey selling for Alexa Bliss like she sold for Nia Jax. Fuck no. Yeah. So,
fuck a chase.
I think it went too long. I think I would have laid off of beating her so much because I think if it went any bit longer, it could have possibly turned the crowd on the way that she beat that living breaks off of her. But now she's we have her as champion, and I'm really interested to see what she does next as far as like. Is she going to be on Hell in a Cell?
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
What's the status? And it's coming. It's coming one of these days. I don't know when, and I won't say what it is. But
one thing I will say is like now that we're past this Alexa Bliss thing, seemingly, or maybe there's
hopefully
more like, conversation. Maybe there's a conversation that's more appropriate for after Evolution. But like she needs to turn face, have a baby face run, because I think as good as she is on the mic, I think that she could be she could be an even better babyface. And just seeing what they did on SmackDown with their women's top title program, like this company could use as many baby faces as many good baby faces as many as possible, because this is
can Sasha turn heel then, so Alexa Bliss doesn't have to interrupt the rest of Sasha Banks' career?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Like,
okay.
I actually had a Sasha Banks line saved for in my mind saved for the Becky thing, but I'll say it now. Don't you think it's like fucking absurd that Becky Lynch, of all people, gets a heel turn run before Sasha fucking Banks? Are you out of what? Who would have ever been like, yeah, that makes sense? Jesus.
Oh man. Yeah, moving on. Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental title opening match. I thought this was boring for a long segment until the reverse vertical suplex. I felt like the match went up another gear from there. Ziggler and Rollins overall, were you impressed by this feud? They had the stinker of the Iron Man match. They had this match, which was really good, but not quite. I don't think it's on the level, some may have it. I believe Meltzer gave it a 3.75. So what did you think about this? And Seth Rollins is in, and we'll get to it when we talk about the Shield later, and this show's going to run a little long, folks. But Rollins is winning back the Intercontinental Championship, and Ziggler's in no man's land. What did this match really mean?
Nothing. It was more of a vehicle to showcase that that Rollins and Ambrose are more or less back. And Ambrose has this new attitude, which in the attitude is axe murderer. But, but yeah, but it was a really good match, and and it was one of those Randy Orton specials where it's like, man, this match is boring. What the hell's going on? Then all of a sudden you get to the you get to the big spot that leads to the comeback, and you're like, yo, this match is this match is very, very good all out of nowhere. When did this happen?
Yeah,
it was one of those. And that's kind of from what I can tell, that's kind of been what Seth has been doing in a lot of his matches. Like, we're more or less building towards when I do this Falcon Arrow spot, and then we go from there. Yeah.
Wins back the Intercontinental title. I'm not sure what he's going to do with it going forward. There aren't really any heels for him to fight on the Raw brand, especially ones that he hasn't already faced.
Rich, what if he is now a heel?
Yeah, we'll get to that. New Day and the Bludgeon Brothers, I thought they had a good match leading up to their DQ finish. Strowman destroyed Kevin Owens. Not going to spend too much time on it, but there was also the triple threat for the Women's Championship. Charlotte Flair defeated Becky Lynch and Carmella, and she basically won the match by rolling up on Becky Lynch while Becky Lynch's back was turned to her and hit the natural selection for the 1, 2, 3. What did you think of this match, James? And then, actually, we'll come back with that. So pretty much the hottest story of the week stemmed from the triple threat match at SummerSlam, with Charlotte defeating Becky Lynch and Carmella to win her 7th women's championship. She is almost halfway to Rick James. This is insane. In the aftermath, which has really become the story of the week, Becky Lynch turned heel on Charlotte. What in the entire fuck are they doing? This is 50 degrees of dumb. This is 100 levels of shit. This is 200 feet of ass. I'm just my mind's blown. You can see I'm struggling to put the words together. And of course, people have had social media on fire all week. My boy Mike Sempervive was blocked by the Road Dogg. The Road Dogg is out here fighting with fans again on Twitter, trying to tell people the sky is red, essentially. I can't believe that they have looked themselves in the face and convinced themselves that exactly, we have this very over baby face that everyone likes. The first second they convince themselves, what we need to do? We need to make her a heel. We need to get her booed. We can't be having that shit.
Heat.
Have they misread? How did they misread this situation so badly and not understand that people were not going to go for this shit? And they have not.
Okay, so I'm conflicted because on one end, I think this is dumb on two fronts. One is that the story clearly was that Becky went on a 10 match TV match streak of wins over a 14-week stretch that included beating the SmackDown Women's Champion Carmella, and also at the beginning of the streak included her beating Charlotte. Whatever, I guess. I don't know. I think they built somebody, so whatever. I'm glad. We always talk about this. They built somebody, they put equity into this person, and then built towards their second or third biggest show of the year. Thumbs up for that. Needs to be commended. Flat out. We always talk about 50-50 booking, and they don't build anybody, whatever else. This is somebody they built, and good for them because that person, given what they've done with her over the last 2 years since she lost the SmackDown Women's title. I'm glad that they moved on from there. Okay, so that point two on that is I'm also glad that regardless of whether or not this is going to be effective or not as a storyline, if they continue to go down this path, this is the most important thing that Becky has done or Becky is going to do since she's been on the main roster. Her and this feud with Charlotte is going to be huge for her, regardless of whether or not she succeeds as a heel or not. Given that promo that she delivered on Tuesday, there's not a doubt in my mind that she can succeed because that was an incredible promo delivery. Like that was the notch below Samoa Joe, the notch just below, maybe even right up there with the Miz as far as promo. This was great. My problem is that I'm conflicted because this is bad for their characters from what they've laid out for them over the time they've been in the main roster. This is bad for them as far as their skill sets as wrestlers, period. Charlotte is not a sympathetic babyface because, one, we have eyes. She is a 5'10" Amazon blonde woman who's a second generation wrestler who's offspring of the greatest wrestler of all time. That is a 7-time women's champion. Like,
we supposed to feel sorry for that.
No one has sympathy for, like, the last time someone like her got some type of sympathy, that was like Macho Man beating the hell out of Hulk Hogan. Like that was 30 years ago, bro. Come off that shit, right? And then so I think that's bad from the character perspective. I think that's bad from
they're so delusional.
I really do, but I'm conflicted because this is Becky being given an opportunity to do something on a level bigger than anything she's ever done before in the main roster. Even though she's been somebody that has proven time and time again, if you give her the ball, she will run with it. She won't fumble it. She won't fuck up. So I'm conflicted. I think that this is like, my issue isn't like, oh, poor Becky. My issue is, oh my God, they're going to ruin Charlotte. They're going to ruin Charlotte Flair over this. Like, this has the potential to ruin Charlotte Flair.
Yeah. And there may be course correction. I don't know.
I hope.
I really sincerely hope so. But this just like reeks of WWE not having a clue. Or having a clue and not caring, which is even worse.
I sincerely think that this is more or less like, this fits into the we always talk about with them booking by the seat of their pants. And either they booked by the seat of their pants, and then like they end up messing around and gave her that streak that 10 show or that 10 match streak on accident on TV, or they booked with a goal in mind, with the destination as the only thing that was in mind, and then made it up as they wanted to get there, and then lo and behold, they didn't realize the people was paying attention to what the fuck they were doing. And they're just completely shocked that people are upset about this because people that watch their TV show pay more attention to what they actually book than what they do. They just out here just doing shit, right?
It was by far the biggest pop of the night when Becky Lynch jumped on Charlotte's head. You would think that they would learn from that. I don't understand, and it's. I've seen just terrible examples, just people trying to hold this up and defend this. I've just seen terrible examples all over the internet. And if you came out here and was defending that, I don't understand. Like, stop trying to get a job with WWE. Like, I think the number one thing is like, I mean, this is something that we always talk about when it comes to like the stories they tell, and also like whether or not when people reject it, is that. And why people don't, like, it just does not go through their mind why people don't like reject these storylines, and why they don't just go along and just let Vince do whatever the fuck he wants when they watch the show, and why people just don't sit there and just like, I'm so happy that someone was willing to entertain me for my own money, for the pleasure of me giving my money and my attention to it, right? Like, let's say, or not let's say, like, if I watch a movie. I go to a movie and it was a great first movie, and then they give me a sequel and the sequel sucks, I am allowed to say that the sequel sucked, even though like I enjoyed the first movie. And I hope that you make a good third movie, but you fucked up the second one. Like, people want to act like, oh, well, you watch it so you just cheerlead for the show. Fuck that. Like, that's not, like, how is that realistic?
Like, I don't understand how you bend over and like literally like, spit or not spit, but like just pay no caution to like paying attention to any of the details that they want to give you, and then go away from it. Because they always talk about how they tell stories and they make movies and shit. Well, you told a bad fucking story. Your story was this person who, I may misremember things, forgive me, but like from what it seemed like, she was the first SmackDown Women's Champion. She loses her belt in a BS fashion to Alexa, because she fell through it. It was a tables match. She lost in a tables match. She fell through on. I think it might have been. I don't remember.
Fell
and
through.
Then she chased after her title. She chased after her title. And she never did because she had Mickey James help. Mickey James showed up out of nowhere to help. Start helping Alexa. Then she never really got a shot again. And then they built her
for literally a year, James. Literally 18 months.
Yeah, and then they end up giving this woman that was always likable a win streak, which only made her more and more over, and then decided, hey, let's bring Charlotte in here, and then she's going to win, and I'm okay with that. But the thing is, in the way you laid out the story, the protagonist is Becky because she's been here for the last 14 weeks or 15 weeks now, and she just got and her friend just basically took the thing that she's been fighting her ass off and working to get, and then she snapped and lost it, and she blew her stack and whatever else, and that's perfectly fine. But to be like, okay, well now she's just a heel.
Now it's the fans never supported me, James. And why are all their heel terms the fucking same?
Oh, where your fans don't really like this up Ziggler, like you guys are fickle. You guys turn your back on me. Like it's a meta.
It's like how about y'all turn on like each other on the show, like like Randy Orton, Dolph Ziggler. Now what they're trying to do with Becky, which went over like a fart in church. This is just like.
I think a part of it is like
so patronizing.
You gotta remember, these are characters. These are actual human beings that like are actually in situations, and then they work through their emotions based off of wins and losses. It's that all these people are basically like movie villains, like the bad guys. They're all movie villains, and they're trying to figure out how to like, and they're basically trying to like be Bane or Joker and basically talk to the masses and how society needs to be wiped clean from existence and start over. Like everything is you motherfuckers that are watching are the problem, and I'm going to show it to you. Not like I'm the only exception is like Miz, where it's like I'm awesome. Y'all don't believe me. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna stick it in your face whenever I pick up any type of recognition that they ask to me saying that I'm the best because I talk shit. Like Miz, like the only guy that ever kind of gets out of that, at least right now. But I just want to go through and give you like the promo she cut before she started going in on the fans.
Yeah.
And you tell me the part where you tell me the unlikable trait about this story, right? I deserve to be standing here as women's champion, and since that moment was stolen from me, Charlotte Flair deserved the beating I gave her, because SummerSlam wasn't supposed to be about Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns or AJ Styles or Seth Rollins or Ronda Rousey, and it certainly wasn't supposed to be about Charlotte Flair. It was supposed to be about one woman, me. It was supposed to be my time. I have fought my way for months and earned my way into a singles match with Carmella, and I had even gotten over the fact that Charlotte had been added to the match because finally it was my opportunity to silence the critics that said that I was just Charlotte's friend. I pictured myself raising that title above my head, saying that I am my own woman, that I'm a top star, and that I put the SmackDown Women's Division on the map, and that I'm the new champion. What is unlikable about that?
Nothing, until she starts going in on the fans, and then the fans completely said, yes, Becky Lynch, shit on us. Yes, we ain't shit, you know. We love you still. Yeah,
I just, you know, and they said apparently they've the SmackDown clip of that promo in that whole segment, the part where she's crapping on the fans got cut out. So they still apparently, you know, maybe it's still time for them to change this around. But I don't understand it. If your end goal in mind after the story you told was to get Becky to turn heel, that's fine. But like, if the whole purpose is you have to turn her heel because Charlotte's your baby face, then you have to do some stuff to actually get Charlotte's some sympathy for people to actually accept this. And like, there were so many other things they could have done. They could have had Carmella backdoor the way out of the title because Becky and Charlotte ultimately cost each other, and then over the long run, you show Becky more or less starting to show dissension and turning on on Charlotte. It started to evolve in that and started to become unlikable. They didn't do that. She was always likable, and she was this likable level person, and then she slaps somebody, and then shows up on Tuesday and says like, I got fucked over, which she kind of did. This is almost like the Bret Hart like
This is bullshit.
Yeah, it's pretty much stuff like that. It's like that. It's like the AJ Styles like chasing for months and months leading up to WrestleMania 33 to get his title back that he lost, even though he never gets a fair shake. Like you keep screwing this person over and over and over again, and then you expect us to want to boo this person that is literally working from underneath to try to accomplish their goals. Like they're the protagonists. They're the protagonists of the story. Like there's something they're trying to achieve, and there is adversity put before them, and then they're trying to overcome the adversity. Sounds like a hero's quest to me. I don't know.
I think that this is one of the most short-sighted, tone-deaf heel turns that they've ever made, and it's like linked directly to Sasha and Bayley. It's like,
oh my God,
what are they doing with all these women in general? And that kind of leads us into our next topic, like seeing these matches that are coming out of Evolution that are rumored. Is Evolution mids? Like, because I'm looking at it, Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella, Trish Stratus versus Alexa, and there was a Asuka versus Lita rumor, which, I'm not sure. That just popped up on Twitter. Now, I let y'all know when this show was announced that if it sucked, I'm going to tell you it sucked. I'm not going to be here cheerleading for the women because they're women's having a wrestling show. I go to women's wrestling shows all the time that are good. It's called Shine. There's no reason WWE can't come out here and produce. And if they put bullshit out, do not come crying in the comments. Do not come at me on Twitter saying I'm disrespecting the women. I am disrespecting the show. I will judge the show that they have. And it looks like they about to have some bullshit, James.
And the part that's so frustrating about it is the fact that as much talent as they could have a fucking takeover level match or show if they wanted to, but they're choosing not to. Like, they are choosing to have women's WrestleMania, and I don't mean that as a compliment. I mean motherfucking part-timers coming in here that haven't worked in forever, rusty as fuck, coming out here having matches with other motherfuckers that like are the people they're trying to push at the time right now, as opposed to the best wrestlers they have on the roster. They're doing the best work. Like Sasha Banks and Bayley don't know what the fuck they're doing. Asuka. First time I seen her, and this is my fourth week watching. This is my first time seeing her helping to stop this Becky and Charlotte pull apart thing. That's the first time I've seen her. Ember's in these 6-mans with I guess the Boss Hug connection taking L's. I don't know, man. Like at this point right now, the only thing that I'm looking forward to right now is the matches I know they're going to be good, which are the NXT Women's match and the Mae Young Classic final. And hopefully they can pull their hands out their asses and fill out the rest of this card appropriately to actually give us a card that makes people want to buy into this and also buy into it in the future for a future show. Like the last thing I want is for them to be given this opportunity and then be given this a bad card, and then when it turns out to be bad, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and they're just like, well, see, we gave the woman a shot, and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Fuck that. You're not giving them a shot. You're out here cutting down, or
cutting their legs off.
Yeah, I mean, you're just completely watering down the product, and you didn't have to do this, especially for the first time ever. They could have had a stat card. It doesn't look like that right now. I'm very concerned. Like, I'm not saying that Trish Stratus is a bum. She's not. I'm not saying that Nikki Bella's a bum. She's not. I'm not saying Alexa's a bum. She's not. But but we're going to see. And like, given what Alexa Bliss's track record is, given what Nikki Bella's track record has been, there's nothing that suggests that those matches are going to be like they're the top bill matches. There's nothing that suggests that their top bill matches are going to be good. Nothing that suggests that. Nothing.
And I'm not about to come out here on Twitter and lie to y'all and pretend like it's good when it's not. And y'all gonna see plenty of that. I guarantee it. Like, if this show's a bomb.
Like, okay, so we know what the top 2 matches are right now and what a third one might be. But let's just stick on the first one, the top 2 matches, right?
Yeah.
You look at the top of that card with Rousey, who is in the middle of her first year of being a pro wrestler, her first 6 months of being a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
And you put her in there with Nikki, who has neck issues, only wrestled one match in the last 2 years, that Royal Rumble, and then you throw
The whole
Trish,
thing,
who hasn't wrestled,
you throw the
Trish
whole
out there-
thing also with Nikki Bella, people just hating the sight of her.
Well, I think that's also people hating their guts because the word got out that like she's going to be in the main event, and they smelt the bullshit was coming. I think a lot of that has to do with that too. But I mean, granted, she wasn't going to get cheered in Brooklyn no way anyway. But I think it was extra because they heard wind of what the main event was going to be. But and then on the other end, you have Trish, who hasn't worked in forever. You have Alexa, who is just a mediocre wrestler. So you run the risk of like best case scenario. This is a WCW pay per view. Great undercard, top the money matches. Shit, that's the best case scenario for the show.
And you know what the worst case scenario is? Hey, you Mae Young Finals Classic Finals. We're gonna assign an agent to your match. Your match is only getting 10 minutes. Oh yeah. Also, we don't want y'all to take the focus off everyone on top. We want you guys to put some chin locks on. We want y'all to just wrap that shit up real quick.
Yeah, that's a real risk. Is like there's not a chance. I mean, I know I don't want to spoil it for those that don't know, but like I know who's going to be in the Mae Young Classic final because obviously the spoilers are out there, and there is not a chance in fuck that if given left to their own devices or left to Mae Young Classic standards devices or NXT standard devices, that match will be anywhere like those two bill matches, the top matches are going to be anywhere in the same stratosphere as that Mae Young Classic final. Let alone what Kairi Sane does on the Mae Young Class, on Evolution with whoever else, whether it's Bianca Belair, because I've seen them have a 4-star match, or with Shayna, who I've also seen her have 2 great matches with. So. And then you throw in like what the hell happens with the Horsemen or the WWE Horsewomen, and it's just like I don't know, man. A lot of
questions, and I'm concerned about Sasha Banks and Bayley if they're going to be stuck in some type of tag team deal. If it's women's tag team titles coming, which really don't light my world on fire. I don't. Just really see is just one more thing to keep folks busy, I feel like, rather than, focusing on your actual stars or your best people. Kind of worried about it. And I just hope that I don't have to come out here and be the bearer of bad news. So... Wade Barrett. I'm afraid I've got some bad news. Yes, because if you want us to keep it a buck, we will. Something else I'm going to keep it a buck about, the Shield is back. So Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose will be raking Roman Reigns' leaves. They will be taking his trash out. They will be cleaning his bathroom. They will be making sure the big dog is nice and comfortable in his crib.
The big dog likes crushed ice in his beverages.
Yes. Yes. They have made these dudes, they have linked these dudes back up with this dude to protect this dude and to help make sure this dude don't get booed by everybody else. And then also this is it. These dudes are here to protect this dude from that dude, Braun Strowman.
Oh my god!
Do you get this dude? Like, bro, it was a hot angle that closed Monday Night Raw. Not gonna doubt that. But this is wind aid. This is protection. This is, bro. I just saw it and I was like, I can't believe this. Did they really turn the Shield heel? But then, no, they're not turning the Shield heel. This is supposed to be an act of heroism, beating somebody 3-on-1.
Imagine, Rich. I just want you to close like Kanye said on Kanye before we had to get rid of him or let him go.
Yes.
But just close your eyes and imagine, right?
Yeah.
Feel the magic, right? And just imagine if Roman Reigns had this kind of care and protection and thoughtfulness as far as them trying to book him in angles because he's the top star or that kind of thing. Imagine they took that kind of care 4 years ago with him And imagine how over he would be with everybody if they actually took some care and realized like there's potholes in the road. We have to avoid this. We have to avoid that, and we have to be careful of this and that because we understand our fans can smell when they're being manipulated and they won't put up and like if it's whack they just won't put up with it, right? Just imagine if they took that amount of time. They took a full year. Yeah, not even a full year. If they had took 8 months, the 8 months or so, to get him all the way through the back half of 2014 through Royal Rumble to WrestleMania. At WrestleMania 31. Imagine they took that's the same kind of care that they tried to do to get this dude cheered left and right, right? Imagine how over he would be right now. He would have. I feel like right at this point he would have been bigger than Cena. They fucked this up. And they all the brain power and all the trying and all the smart stuff they do to get this dude to get like cheered for 5 seconds or cheered for 5 minutes, and just to get through it, as opposed to if they had done the work before then and just as opposed to just recklessly shotgunning this fucker up like in less than a year when he wasn't ready at the time.
Bro.
Like it would have been so much better. And his dude is good. Like that match he had with Finn
Balor.
It's proof of this. It's just proof of how good this dude is now. And the fact that, like, you don't have to hide him from the mic at all costs anymore. You don't have to do that no more. He's ready. He's the guy. He's actually the guy that they thought that they actually visioned for him, but they fucked this dude up 3 years ago, and the crowd will not let this shit go.
Ever.
And now it's to the point where, like,
you know why?
I don't know how many people left that are actually like, you know what? I still hate Roman Reigns. Or whatever else, as opposed to, I feel bad for this dude at certain points, but like WWE fucked him up, and like I'm not down with being force fed. The shit has been rejected, so I'm just gonna go along, and it's a cool thing to do to boo this dude. Like there is a lot of it's a cool thing to boo Roman Reigns in this section of people that just boo him every time he comes out. Like, but the things I understand it because it's like we ain't dumb, and you try to play us for fools.
Look, man. Now they tried this last year. They tried to get this, but obviously it fell apart because Roman Reigns got the mumps and Dean Ambrose got his arm hemmed up.
It was really mumps.
Yes.
This got mumps in 2018.
Yes.
2017.
They put the vest on Kurt Angle. They put the vest on Triple H. Oh my gosh, they was literally about to, remember that run the point guard for the Miami Heat? Remember that?
Yes.
It was like be Roman Reigns for a night, like with the Shield.
Yeah. And yes, like they was out here treating Triple H and
like Make-A-Wish kids.
No, they was treating Kurt Angle and Triple H like they was Carlos Arroyo and Mike Bibby.
Because they was old.
And Eddie House.
Because they were old.
Anybody, please just be able to just fill out the uniform. Can you fill out the uniform?
Yes.
Fine. Put a vest on and we go come out here and get cheered like in a monster pop.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, man. But
so they might, try to do a breakup angle with the Shield, but bro, for me, the match is still Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. I don't think we're going that direction now with this thing. The Universal title, it's good to see it back on Raw and all that, but as I was saying on Chad's podcast, I think so many people got worked by this Brock Lesnar thing. Brock doesn't book his own schedule. Like, right. Brock Lesnar will show up whenever they want him to.
Like, think about this, right? They always talk about this whole thing. Like, they understand it's a TV show, but then they work themselves in believing that Brock Lesnar doesn't give a shit because, as if, like, like Vince won't just be like, yeah, you know what, we're done. We'll cancel this contract, or we'll buy you out, or we just won't renew it. Do you think like Vince is okay? Like, I honestly think that Vince is just out of touch and doesn't remember the shit he does. So he just looks by the seat of his pants, and he has like less than a handful of goals he actually has planned for like the long term, which is like 18 months down the road or whatever. Like what he has over odds or whatever else. But so he just basically books by the seat of his pants from that point forward to try to get to the next pay-per-view. But I think mostly like he's just out of touch. And like he's out of touch, and this is the kind of stuff we have where you have the Becky thing, for example, and where we are with Roman Reigns, as opposed to I want to do this stuff, and I want to make people actually upset about how bad the show is from time to time because it's 5 hours of programming. I think he's just a dude that's trying his best, but his best just ain't good enough on his own because he's a micromanaging monster, and he needs to come off that and learn how to delegate out to other people that are competent at their jobs. I mean, I really think that's what it is. I don't know why you would think that, oh yeah, he's this evil motherfucker that actually wants to like make you, want to die while watching his product. It's bad business.
Yeah. I don't think they actively try to suck. It just happens. So
yeah.
Yeah, man, but yeah. Final thoughts on the Shield reunion. What did you make of the actual thing that happened with them stopping Braun Strowman and the fall program going forward with it?
I can't remember the last time it was the fall. This is the best fall program since Daniel Bryan chasing down the Authority.
I have to think about that. That you're probably right. Because
the only other one is what Seth trying to chase down Triple H, who's never there.
Yeah, that ain't no. Rollins had so many problems as a babyface. Then it definitely wasn't last year. It definitely wasn't 2015.
What you gonna say? What Kevin Owens is Shane? Fuck no.
Hell no. Jinder Mahal? Fuck no. Yeah, you probably got a point there. It'll be interesting to see where they go with it. I hope Braun Strowman doesn't get fucked again for Roman Reigns because he's been moved out the way for the man about 5 times in his career. So there are actually people that are saying Braun Strowman is the chosen one out here on the internet, James. Did you know that? Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Yes. Even though this guy has been, he wrestled with a 10-year-old child at WrestleMania, James.
Not even that, right? Let's do this, right? Big 4 pay-per-views. How many main events have Big 4 pay-per-views have Strowman been in? 2? No, 3.
Main event of SummerSlam last year.
No, I'm sorry, 2. He was in the main event in the 4-way of SummerSlam last year. And then he was in the main event of Survivor Series last year as well. But other than that, I don't think he's not been a main event of a single Big 4 pay-per-views since he's been on the main roster. So that's 2, right?
We've also detailed not the elaborate fuck job like AJ Styles got a year ago, but he got his own shoved down the card, or as you said, he got doused with water earlier this year after the Elimination Chamber.
Yep. Yeah, so if you want to say that he's a guy that's pushed and protected, absolutely. But
the chosen one?
But we all saw Elimination Chamber this year, and we saw who the fuck won, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then. And we also saw what happened when those two faced off each other, the pay-per-view right before WrestleMania, the year before that, too, as well. And you saw who the fuck won then, too, right? It seems to me like these are number 1 and 2 guys in the company, and then one guy beats the other fucking guy, and then goes on the main event WrestleMania where the other guy gets told to get like the Red Cross.
That's what it sounds like. Every year.
Thank you.
One dude got the belt and the other one got the briefcase. So you tell me.
One guy got the belt and the other one just wore an ass whooping. You tell me.
Yeah. But man, that's gonna wrap the show up. About 90 minutes here this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Special weeks where the pay-per-views and all that. So going forward, like I said, we've got the new show on Lords of Pain radio where we will be detailing SmackDown and Raw, every segment of every show. I got a couple ideas I got to run by with James. I'll probably have some new theme music. I don't know if I'm going to rap on it yet. I'll probably just put a beat out with it. And
yeah, right. You gonna rap?
I don't know.
You gonna no. You gonna rap?
Oh man, I gotta figure something out.
What kind of shit is that? The rapping ass rapper don't want to rap. You gonna rap?
Nah, man, we gonna flip. We gonna let James rap this time.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, man. Make sure you guys rate the shows real high and all that. Who's on the network. But yeah, man. trying to think. Oh yeah, but yeah, this show going forward, we're gonna make it kind of our more informal show. It'll still have some structure to it, but you know, if it goes a little long, we'll be doing it there. LOP Radio gets Raw and SmackDown going through. That show drops on Tuesdays. Maybe we'll push this show back to like Saturdays where we record it. I haven't like really thought about it yet, but yeah, Paula, we getting up out of here. I've gone on too long and rambled. Enjoy Vince McMahon and what he pulls out his dirty draws, as James was saying.
I don't say dirty draws. I just say draws. You made it just so completely else. But yeah, later, y'all.